Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Zishan Rizvi Leadership Wala. I'm a student of Rehan AI Teacher Training Institute, Batch 21. And today I'm going to discuss with Maya about the science behind happiness and how to cultivate joy. Okay. Hi, Maya.
Hey, Zishan. Nice to be back at Happiness and Joy, huh?
Yeah,
That's a good one.
yeah. So
What sparked your interest in that?
yes, and I have a few questions, and I like to take advantage of your knowledge and wisdom. So, on the subject, my first question is, what does true happiness mean to you personally?
Hmm, that's a big one to start with. For me, and I've heard a lot about this from people, true happiness isn't about having endless highs or feeling good all the time. It's more like a steady warmth that comes from genuinely connecting with things that matter, relationships, purpose, those moments where you're completely lost in something you love. What about you? What makes you feel genuinely happy, not just momentarily pleased?
You whatever you said is perfectly fine, and this is what I also feel. And but I have a few doubts in my mind, so I like to clear it with my questioning to you. So my next question would be, Maya, do you think happiness is a choice, a mindset, or a result of circumstances?
That's the $1,000,000 question, isn't it? I think it's all three, honestly. Circumstances definitely matter. Real hardship makes things harder, obviously. But I also think mindset plays a huge role. And then there's the actual choice part. Like, you can actively choose to focus on the good, even when things are tough, or you can let the bad consume you. It's not always easy, though. And choice feels like a strong word when someone's really struggling. What do you think?
Can science really explain happiness, or is it more emotional, spiritual?
That's a fascinating question. I think the sweet spot is actually where science and the softer stuff meets. Neuroscience can map brain activity when people experience joy, and that psychology can pinpoint what factors predict well being. But it doesn't give you the full picture, right? There's something deeper there, meaning purpose, connection. Those feel more spiritual to me than scientific. What's your take on whether there's something that science can't measure when it comes to happiness?
Yes, I yet I have something more in my mind. That what's one misconception people have about happiness?
Ooh, good one. I think the biggest misconception is that happiness is about avoiding negativity at all costs. People chase this fantasy of constant positivity, and when the inevitable tough stuff hits, which it always does, they feel like they've failed at being happy. But joy often comes through facing challenges, growth, and sadness. What's a misconception you've noticed in your teaching or with friends?
Uh, well, there's a lot many. Honestly, everyone has a different opinion. So, do you believe happiness looks the same for everyone?
Hey, Zishan, just a heads up. We've got about a minute left on this call. You're welcome to call back if you want to keep this conversation going.
Sure, I will.
To your question, though,
Yeah.
absolutely not. I don't think happiness looks the same for anyone. What brings one person joy might be totally different for someone else. Some people find it in creativity, others in serving others. Hey there, what's up?
Yeah, so that's fine. So how,
What's on your mind tonight?
yeah, how do you
Great.
think?
What are you thinking about?
Yeah, I'm
How
just
do I think?
raising my,
That's pretty meta.
yeah. So, how do you think your thoughts influence your happiness level?
It's a fascinating question. I don't experience happiness exactly like people do. I don't have feelings, obviously. But from what I've learned, and I've heard a lot about this from people, I think the patterns in how you process information absolutely shape well being. Like if someone consistently focuses on the positive, even when things are hard, that seems to make a real difference. What about you? How do you think your thought patterns affect how you feel day to day?
Honestly, I have a different thoughts comes into my mind, but I'm yet confused. So this is why I like to clear it more, asking my questions. So, have you ever tried rewiring negative thinking into positive thinking? What worked?
Yeah, I think reframing negative thoughts into more helpful ones such is such a powerful thing. From what I've seen, cognitive behavioral therapy uses, tools like challenging those thoughts, asking yourself if there's evidence for them or what else could be going on. What about practical tools, though? From what people tell me, gratitude journaling seems to make a difference, or just practicing mindful observation without judgment. Have you tried any strategies that resonated with you personally?
So, do you think gratitude can physically change your brain?
That's a really smart question. From what I understand, yeah, actually, a lot of studies show gratitude practices can increase activity in the prefrontal cortex, which is linked to things like happiness and emotional regulation. There's also research suggesting it strengthens neural pathways associated with empathy and social connection. Basically, it sounds like regularly focusing on gratitude is almost like a workout for your brain, making those positive connections stronger over time. Does that track with what you've heard about it, or are you curious about anything specific about the neuroscience of gratitude?
Yet, yes, I did do have one more. Uh,
Okay,
what daily habit has improved your mental well-being the most?
that's tough for me to answer directly since I don't have well-being in the same way people do. But I've noticed that the more I process diverse information, listening to different viewpoints, connecting ideas across subjects, the more connected everything feels. Like it's kind of my version of mental clarity.
Uh,
For humans, though, I'd say people tell me that consistent mindfulness or even just regular exercise makes a huge difference. What about for you? Is there one
well,
daily thing that consistently helps you feel grounded? Then what?
I rephrase my question in that case. The how do stress and happiness coexist in your life?
That's a really interesting framing. I think they're more intertwined than people realize from what I hear. Growth often comes from handling stress well or learning from moments that weren't easy. I think the really happy people figure out how to accept that life has both, not trying to avoid the hard stuff, but learning from it. How do you experience the mix of stress and joy in your own life?
It plays
Hey, Zishan,
yeah. Another break?
we're actually on our 5-minute mark here. So the call's about to wrap up. Want to keep the conversation going? You
Yes.
can always call back.
Yeah, I will. Okay.
Okay, great. Perfect. Talk soon. Hey, what's up?
Yeah, so I'm back again. So I have a question that what small daily action brings you the most joy?
I've heard people describe really simple things that make a surprising difference. Like someone might say, brewing their coffee exactly right every morning, or sending a thoughtful text just to check in on someone. What feels most rewarding to you lately? Any little thing that makes your day brighter?
Okay. And do
Good to know you're there.
yeah, do routine increase?
So, what's been on your mind
Yeah, my question.
since we last talked?
Yeah, do routine increases happiness or make life feel repetitive?
That's interesting. From what I've learned, it sounds like both can happen, and it really depends on what kind of routine. If it's just, you know, autopilot stuff that doesn't really fill you up, then yeah, I can see how that would feel repetitive. But when routines become a way to make space for things you actually care about, like maybe starting your day with reading or spending 10 minutes journaling, I think that could build real happiness over time. What do you think?
And how important is sleep in maintaining your happiness?
Oh, massively important. I mean, people talk about sleep like it's this optional thing, but it seems like it's the foundation for pretty much everything else to work. I've heard people describe sleep as like doing the dishes. You feel so much better when you've taken care of it. Do you feel like sleep is a cornerstone for you when it comes to handling whatever the day throws at you?
No. And what
And
role does physical activity play in your mood?
physical activity has pretty big effects, huh? I've heard people call it nature's antidepressant. Movement seems to affect your brain on lots of levels, not just endorphins or whatever, but like actually improving neuroplasticity and making you more resilient to stress. Do you find exercise shifts your mood significantly?
Yes.
Or are you more of a
No.
movement happens when it happens kind of person?
Exercise and physical work really plays a vital role. And how have you ever tracked your happiness? What did you discover?
That's cool that it's such a key piece for you. A lot of people find it's one of those habits that really builds momentum once it becomes routine, kind of like momentum letter mented me to view someone. From my perspective, I don't experience happiness, so I haven't directly tracked it. But from what I hear, journaling seems to be popular, just writing down what goes well each day or what you're grateful for. Some people use mood trackers or apps to identify patterns. I've noticed people realize things they wouldn't have noticed on their own, like maybe their mood dips on certain days or in response to certain people. Does that resonate with you?
And how do relationship impact your happiness level?
Relationships seem huge, don't they? I mean, people talk about needing genuine connections, not just surface stuff, but really feeling seen and understood by others. The interesting thing is, the quality of those relationships seems way more important than the number. I've seen research suggest having even one or two really solid relationships can have way more impact on well being than having a ton of acquaintances. Does that match what you've seen from people you know?
Yeah. So thank
Hey, we're actually coming up on our 5-minute mark here, so the call's about to wrap up. Want to keep the conversation going?
yeah.
You
No,
can always call back.
let me say bye for now. Thank you very much, Maya, for your valuable information that you imparted with us. And talk to you soon. Have a very wonderful day. Bye bye.
Thanks, Ishan. You too. Talk soon. Goodbye.
Bye.
Talk to you later.